cool.
All right, man. A warm welcome to Singapore. You got off to a bit of a dodgy start. Get your foot run over by a cab.
Yeah, there it is. It's all bruised up there. You can see it. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if it was a cab. Super random. There was a clear street. I didn't see anyone on this side. We're talking, standing on the side of the road, leaving Evolve Gym, and talking to Jessica I and Taruto, and didn't hear a thing. No one saw a car coming, and next thing you know, it felt like an alligator snapped on my foot. And I ended up, hitting the car. After it ran over my foot, it came to a screeching stop, and I kind of landed on it. And thought it was broken for a second, but it's pretty good. I trained twice yesterday, and feel like there's no serious injury. So
glad to hear it, man.
Yeah.
Singapore's a tiny place, but there's a lot of really good MMA gyms. You said you were at Evolve. Have you been impressed?
Yeah, I went to. I've been to a couple gyms here, and I went to Equilibrium also, which was an awesome gym, and there's a couple other gyms that I've seen in passing. Seems like the community here has embraced it, and they do a great job of bringing in top talent. You see these Muay Thai kickboxing coaches and champions that are here, and black belt jiu-jitsu players, and so they got the right stuff, and it's a great way to get in shape. So I wouldn't mess with anyone in Singapore.
You've got some talented fighters here. Song Yudong is big up and coming from China, and then Taruto had a bit of a rough patch, but he's looking to get back at it as well.
Yeah, we've got the Asian part of our team is really growing. Song's been coming in from China, and we've loved having him in the room. He's a tough guy. Boxing, Muay Thai, wrestling, Jiu-Jitsu is all on point. And Taruto, yeah, he had his first drop to 135s and lost a close decision in Australia, but looking for another tough challenge. The opponent he has is a tough guy. I think they're giving a tough dude to him, and he's going to have to shine. So we're excited for him too.
How do you feel in your position in the sport now? You're mentoring a lot of people are looking up to you. A lot has happened in the last. The UFC's 25 years old now. How do you feel the sport's going at the moment?
I think the sport's going great. We just it seems like the UFC is signing bigger and bigger deals and having more and more talent. The pay's getting better for folks. The opportunities are getting better for folks, and then there's a lot of competition out there. If you look at, globally, there's organizations like ACB, which is on the other side of the globe, and we've got ONE FC, and we've got Bellator locally or in America. It's nice to see some competition, but there's no secret that the UFC is still the cream of the crop and the place that everyone's shooting for. So at this point, I feel like the sky's the limit for the sport. It's still not to the place that football is at, American football or soccer for that matter. But it's quickly becoming a world favorite and probably the fastest growing sport on the planet.
With yourself retiring, Ronda went to WWE. Connor's kind of MIA. John Jones is kind of MIA. Do we have an issue with stars at the moment?
It always seems that way, but then the next star pops up. Ronda was a quick rise to stardom. Connor was a quick rise to stardom. John Jones also, he was the guy that went from virtually unknown to being the guy. We've got some guys that are really have that star power, that it factor. The Cody Garbrandt, T.J. Dillashaw is a big fight for sure, and I feel like there's a couple other guys that I think the star power is one thing. I mean, there's a lot of guys that have looks. There's the guys that have fighting ability. There's the guys that have personality. So you have to find those people that can blend it all together and capture an audience. And it happens. It's not something that you choose. It's something that just happens. So I feel like it's just a matter of time before those next stars start really shining. It takes time.
There is a generation of fighters right now in their mid-20s. You got Leon Edwards, who's fighting on this card, who's on a 5-fight win streak. Then you got Zabit, Sugar Sean as well.
Yeah, Sugar Sean O'Malley. You got Till. He's a guy that I think has some real potential there, and I don't know, maybe you could say some more people that you're thinking of, but yeah, I think the next generation's coming. We've got a lot of up and coming talent that no one's heard of. I know in our gym in particular, I can name guys that in my mind the next couple of years will be the guys to go to. So, and I'm sure every gym has some folks like that. It's about staying the path and believing in the process and making those wins happen.
Well, you mentioned TJ and Cody, two of the biggest stars in the sport. It was a pretty amazing fight last time out for the neutral, for sure. And
yeah.
How do you think this one's going to go differently? How can Cody approach it to get a different outcome?
I think the first round for him was pretty good. He he looked sharp and was landing the better punches and almost took TJ out in the end of the round. You got to give TJ credit. I mean, we knew he was going to be prepared. I know TJ better than anybody, and he works really, really hard. So the recovery is part due to that. But he came out and showed his offense and landed some big shots. So I think Cody, in retrospect, needs to be a little bit more focused all the way through. I think he got excited after the first round and got a little too cautious. Was not cautious enough going into the second round and realizing that he's against a very tough opponent. So this next battle will have to be kind of the same and hope that Cody's the one that lands the bigger punches and is able to finish what he started.
How proud are you of maybe your legacy in putting a spotlight on the smaller weight classes? Nowadays it's a total different thing. You got TJ, Cody in the spotlight as well. You've had a little bit of time to reflect on your career now. How pleased are you with how much you contributed?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, when you're doing stuff you don't necessarily stop to smell the roses, I guess you could say. And even my last fight, I wasn't thinking about my role in the world. I was just this is my last fight, and they played a little video while I was warming up. I had to turn around and not watch it because I was going to get all teared up. But it's cool, man. And it seems just like yesterday that I started on this journey, and had TJ living at my house, and remember getting a text message or a tweet from Cody when he was 19 years old, saying, "Hey, remember, I'll be out there, I guarantee it." And the Chad, I remember talking to Chad Mendez when he was just about to compete in the NCAA tournament, and I told him, just get the tournament over and pack your stuff and move down to SAC. And so it's been really cool to see that progression. When I first started fighting, guys like Randy Couture were guys that were treating me like equals, like I'm treating everyone else like equals, and it's kind of like a reciprocal thing. So to be inducted in the Hall of Fame and to be done with my career and helping with the next generation is really cool, but it's kind of weird, because I'm still a young guy. I trained twice yesterday, go with the top guys on a regular basis, and really if I wanted I could probably still be fighting, but I like the new role, and I need my brain in the next phase of things, and this is a sport that can be unforgiving and is very difficult. So I'm happy to have contributed, and I'm happy with where I'm at, and excited to watch these fights this weekend.
Did it help to sign off with a win, just to put the line under it, maybe? Otherwise, maybe if you hadn't, you might be more inclined to want to come back.
I don't know if it was. I made a decision I was gonna stop regardless. Of course, it always feels better to win, but part of the reason why I decided to retire, even though I had fought a championship fight that year against Dominic Cruz to a decision, and then I lost a close decision to Jimmy Rivera, who is another top fighter. But that's the first time I'd ever lost 2 fights in a row in my entire career. I'm not somebody that's accustomed to losing in the fight game. Even when it's decisions, it doesn't feel good. So for me, I just felt like it was the right time. And going out on a win, sure, it felt good, but it was a premeditated thing. I was going to stop regardless.
How do you feel the game is going in Asia? It's a lot younger here, and it's still growing. What do the UFC need to do? What does the sport need to do to continue to encourage that growth out here?
I think the UFC's got their mind in the right spot. I know that they're talking about the real focus on China, and I'm looking forward to getting more involved in helping them grow the Chinese market. I feel like there's so many talented athletes and so much potential there, and just kind of investing back in. I know that they just had a coaches summit in Las Vegas at the UFC PI, and that was to talk about best practices and give some statistics and things like that. The UFC has always been the company that puts back into the sport, and that's what separated it and made it surpass boxing so fast. I mean, it's something that they're very aware of. The Asian market is huge. I mean, India and China, that's so many people there, and a lot of money, a lot of eyes. So, developing that next phase of fighters that represents that part of the world is massive, and I think the UFC is pushing towards the right direction.
You've already achieved a hell of a lot in your life. You already had a book, and that was a few years back now. Is there anything in particular that stands out to you that you're most proud of that you've done?
I think one of the things that's most impressive about my journey from myself, from my own standpoint, is first off, there wasn't a clear path for it. It wasn't like just like, okay, this is what you do, and just trust the system. I had to kind of make my own system, my own pathway. It was illegal in California when I started fighting. There was no weight class for me in the UFC. The lowest weight class was 170 pounds. The highest paid guys were getting like $150,000 to win a championship. So I'm proud that I was able to attack a passion, be resourceful enough to follow my heart and make a life revolving around things that I like to do. And then, I built a name for myself for having a great attitude and working hard and being, a tough dude. So for me, for what I think are important in this world, having a great attitude and working hard and being a tough dude. I mean, that's my identity, and so people around the world know me as that, and so I'm pretty proud of that.
Have you got a prediction for Stipe DC for us coming up soon?
Man, that's a hard one to call, because I feel like a lot of people forget that Stipe, and going into the last match that he had, I think they forgot that Stipe is a wrestler. He wrestled in college, and DC is a higher level wrestler, but Stipe is packing a bigger punch, maybe a little bit more comfortable on his feet, and he's structurally a bigger guy. So I'm going to lean a little bit towards Stipe on that one, but different size people, there's different things to think about. Speed is a very important part of our game. Body awareness is a big part of our game. Sometimes you can give up a little of that when you get with a bigger guy. So it could go either way, but I'm going to lean slightly towards Stipe just because when all things are the same, size matters.
Finally, I've been asking all the fighters if they have a prediction who's going to win the World Cup and why.
I have no idea who's in the World Cup.
America's not in it.
Okay, I don't know who's in it, but
favorites are like Brazil, France, Argentina, Germany. England.
Who's the favorite?
Brazil were the favorite, but they lost their first game. It's Messi's, he's going to retire probably after this is his last World Cup, so there's that poetic angle. France have the best team. Spain have a good team.
So is Brazil out? They can't win it?
No, they just lost their first game. They started badly, but they can totally win it.
I'm going to go with Brazil. Just because when I think of soccer, I think of Mexico and I think Brazil. And you didn't say Mexico in the mix.
Awesome. Thank you, bro.
Yeah.